Wholesalers, we're here with one of my favorite, maybe my favorite person in the industry. We got my good friend Laura Virilli, and Laura, you had an amazing idea for this topic today. What are we talking about?
We're talking about wholesale like a girl and how you can double your sales by using my strategies.
I love it. Well, hey, as somebody who has three sisters and a great mother, I know that girls rule the world. So we're excited to dive into this topic. Hey, just to tee you up, Laura has been in the industry for 3 decades. She's also carried the bag and was a top wholesaler herself, keynote speaker. Also, you've got a book coming out, The O2 Method for Contagious Growth, specifically for financial advisors, which I think will add a lot of value. And I would say you're kind of the relationship and event planning guru. Like when I think of relationships and events and special touches, I think of you, Laura. So with that said, how did you get it started in this crazy industry? And just give us a little overview of where you started and how you got to where you are today.
Sure, absolutely. I started at Merrill Lynch as a mutual fund accountant 3 decades ago, and I always wanted to go into fashion. I wanted to go to FIT, Fashion Institute of Technology, and my dad said, "No, you're going to college for something more serious." So I was in accounting at the time, and I said, "Well, I'm really good with numbers, and if I can't do what I love, I'll take a career in accounting so I can make the money and buy what I love." And with that, I started at Merrill Lynch immediately out of school as a mutual fund accountant. There was no internet, there was no email. So I would calculate the total returns and walk them around to the portfolio managers as well as the marketing desk, aka the internal wholesalers at Merrill Lynch, which is now BlackRock. And after about a year, they said, "Hey, we have a spot opening up to be an internal wholesaler. Are you interested in interviewing?" I said, "Absolutely. Get me away from this adding machine." And I got the position and got my 7 and 63. And from there, my love affair started with working with financial advisors. So I have climbed around the financial services jungle gym over the past 3 decades, and at one point was carrying the bag for the proverbial 10,000 hours. So I consider myself an expert, and now I am speaking, coaching, and consulting advisors and firms. All within the financial services industry. But while I was wholesaling, I was brought to Dallas. I'm from Jersey. I'm a Jersey girl, and Allianz brought me to Dallas. And I got here in 19 and did not know anyone, had never wholesaled before. And I was like, well, this is going to be so easy. I'll just meet with advisors and I have a great product and they're going to love the product. They're going to love me and I'm going to sell, sell, sell. And I got here and I was like, well, that's not the case because the territory is very over wholesaled. And a lot of the wholesalers here had deep relationships with the advisors. So I'm like, how do I break ties? How do I differentiate myself? So I started to gain a little traction and then COVID hit. So I was like, oh my goodness, this isn't funny. So I had a coach at the time, Brian Margolis, and he's like, Laura, you need to send out an email to your entire book of business and say, I'll be your guinea pig. I'll teach you how to use Zoom, WebEx, Teams, whatever your firm is using, because most advisors didn't know how to use, even turn on their camera. And if they did, we were looking up their nose or on top of their head or the fan was on. It was terrible. So I did that, and my sales were dismal for the whole summer. Probably most people's were. And then September hit, and my sales took off, and they never stopped. And we had a little bit of COVID light here in Texas, so it was a little bit easier to get back out on the road. We weren't as locked down. But during that time, I was doing a lot of virtual events. We were doing the virtual wine tastings and all of all of those fun events that we could do virtually. And then once COVID was lifted, got back in person and did those events to really differentiate. Because what I had said to the advisors was, I'm going to produce this event, come to it, and then you can duplicate it yourself. So you'll leave with the playbook. So that's how the event started. And then along the way, I would just call different wholesalers and say, what are you doing? And a lot of them were guys, and I couldn't wholesale like a guy, right? So I was like, okay, wholesale like a girl, and I created those deep relationships with the first line of defense, and that is the assistant. So I got really chummy with all of the assistants and created relationships with them. They're the gatekeepers, and then the door opened from there. So we have the ability to spend $100 per advisor per year. I would spend it on the assistant. So
Wow, that's so, I think assistants, that it's so they're like the heart of the office, right? They're oftentimes
yeah.
they're the most important person on the team. So in fact, I worked in a office as a financial advisor. We had three advisors, four support staff. These support staff were far more important to the office than the advisors. But I'm just curious, like, what would you do specifically for the assistants? Because I think that's just so smart. Give us some good tactics or good ideas on how we can take good care of the great assistants out there.
Oh, absolutely. Well, lots of strategies here. The first one being to really recognize them and all of their hard work. So whenever I gave a gift, like I said, I would give it to the assistant. I'll say my most signature gift is this Karen Adams calendar. So it comes on a gold easel and it sits on their desk and it's gorgeous. It's all gold embellished. And then every single year, guess what happens? You get to give them the refill. So if we follow the principle of John Rulin, the late John Rulin of giftology, he said gift when they least expect it. So what Karen Adams does is she does a 16 or 17 month calendar. So I send it out then, and it comes in this beautiful box. And I mean, the packaging is just gorgeous. You can write a note, and the Karen Adams team will actually handwrite it for you. So it looks like you've handwritten the note. And then guess what? I've seen the assistants keep the box. I kept my box. This one's from 2020. And then every year, guess what you get to do? You get to send the refill, and the refill comes, just as beautiful. So every year you get to send the refill. So you just obviously keep a running list. So I would start with that. I think these are now up to like $75. The refill's $40, falls within that limit. So I would gift all the assistants that Karen Adams calendar to start the relationship, and they were just blown away. And then part two of that is there's National Admin Day in April. And I would call the advisor and I would say, is it okay if I take your admin out to lunch to celebrate her or him? It's about a 90-minute block of time. And they're like, A, thank you. And B, I forgot it was admin day. So yes, take him or her out to lunch. And oh my gosh, yes, I'm going to get them a small token of appreciation too. So it was a complete win-win on that side. So just had a great time with the assistants and developing relationships with them.
Sometimes it's just remembering, right? Make sure you put Administrative Professionals Day on your calendar a month beforehand
That's right.
so that you can reach out to your top offices and say, hey, I know Natalie's the heart of the office, just wanted to support the team, but most importantly, Natalie, let's celebrate Natalie and everything that she's accomplished over the last year. Would it be cool if I treat the whole office to lunch on Monday to celebrate Natalie? And you can turn Administrative Professionals Day into Administrative Professionals Week. Heck, you could even say it's Administrative Professionals Month if you wanted
Month.
to.
Yeah, that's
That's
right.
20. That's uh, also ask your advisors, just say, hey, what is your assistant's superpower? What is she good at? Right.
Yeah.
And sometimes maybe you just get them an awesome nameplate with their name and their superpower on there. And I always found when you meet with an advisor, sometimes you'll run across the assistant or whoever mans the front desk. And if they don't have a nameplate, I'm like, it's in my head. I'm like, shoot, I forgot her name. And then I'm meeting with the advisor, but I'm not
Right.
focused on financial plan. I'm trying to remember the name of the person. So I'm like, make sure you
That's
get a
right.
really nice nameplate because your
It's a great
clients might
idea.
come in and immediately they're gonna be like, oh yeah, that's Natalie. And her superpower is X.
Right. That's a great idea. Look at two new ideas straight
You
out of the
always
gate.
so in
Yeah.
terms of having been a wholesaler, now you kind of get to see it from an outside lens, right? What do you think some of
Mhm.
the challenges is that wholesalers are facing, or what are some of the things that wholesalers aren't even thinking about out there?
Well, we all know there's the sea of sameness, right? And you really have to differentiate. And that's what I had to do. I had to differentiate, I had to break ties, and I had to think of, okay, if I was in the office as an advisor or an assistant or a gatekeeper or someone at the front desk, how would I react if someone came in? So I did the proverbial, I was in your office, thought I'd drop by with a sweet treat. So I would go to Nothing Bundt Cakes in the morning. They're basically frozen, and Allianz at the time had these business card stickers. So these are fantastic, right? So I would literally, I had a huge roll of these business card stickers in my car. And what I would do is I would take the business card sticker and I would put it on the outside of the Bundt cake box, but I'd also open the lid and I'd put the sticker on the inside because the 9 out of 10 times the lid's going to be open. And I'd say, hey, it was in your neighborhood, thought I'd stop by with a sweet treat. Everybody loves it. And then I'd also get like 1,000 business cards made at the same time. And I would just leave like a handful of business cards with the Nothing Bundt Cakes. They were so appreciative. They're like, oh, you know what? Let me get you on the calendar with Joe or Jim or Samir or whomever, right? So they would literally get me on the calendar just with the I was just in your neighborhood. I thought I'd swing by, but it was differentiating, right, with the business card sticker. So that was a great way of differentiating. And then I would say in terms of the wholesalers that have bigger territories, mine was just Dallas, but I went out to Longview, Tyler, so I did have a decent sized territory. I did something called the coffee cup campaign. And this really started during COVID, but then I just carried it forward. And what you do is you get, a $3 to $5 coffee cup from your firm. This one's from a Mundy. I wholesaled for a Mundy Pioneer for a while. And you send this out with a handwritten note and say, I'd love to have a cup of coffee with you. I already gave you the coffee cup. Let's get it on the calendar. And then you follow up with the email or the phone call and say, hey, did you receive the coffee cup? If you want to take it to the next level, put a gift card in there or put a biscotti in there. And say, hey, I've already given you the coffee cup. Let's have a virtual coffee date. And the first time I did this, I got $1 million ticket. I was like, okay, that was way too easy. But it was so effective, right? Because it's the unexpected. So instead of saying, hey, let's meet for coffee, because we know time is money, and those bigger territories, I did this coffee cup campaign and sent out these coffee cups, which again was a fantastic strategy. And to this day, I still share that strategy with other wholesalers. I'm like, hey, this is what you need to do, especially if you've got those big territories. So that's the coffee cup campaign. I don't think it was my original idea. I think it was one of our groups that we formed during COVID. Someone had thought of it. I'm like, oh, I'm going to take that and use it as my own.
But it's so nice because, like you said, nine out of 10 wholesalers are just going to email the advisor to see if they're up for a coffee. Whereas
Correct.
if you're the one wholesaler that actually sent them the coffee cup, right? Maybe you even take a selfie with you holding one of the coffee cups and you shoot them in the email and say, hey, just mailed you a coffee cup. Here's a selfie with me in the coffee cup. By the way, my bio's below if you'd like to learn more about me. And it's got
Yeah.
everything you could possibly know about LV, Laura. It's got,
Yeah.
photos of you. That's going to humanize yourself. And then they get the cup of coffee, they get the email with the selfie. They know Laura Virilli.
That's
They're
right.
going to be like, of course I want to meet with this person. Like, you know,
Yeah.
they did more than just, and we always say in this industry, the bar's pretty low, right, Laura? I mean,
I know it really is. And I really thought like, oh gosh, I really have to differentiate myself. So I was always going above and beyond, even with birthdays. Of course, I would send the birthday card, but I would actually call the advisor and sing happy birthday to him or her. And at the
yeah,
end, I usually got voicemail, but I'd sing happy birthday to you. And then at the end, I'd go, and I can't sing. It was so funny. And they would inevitably call me back and say, no one's ever called me and sung happy birthday. I'm like, well, now you have a first, right? And it's literally so easy. It took 60 seconds of my day to dial the phone and sing the birthday tune. But I think what also people overlook is like you said, humanizing yourself. I used LinkedIn a lot because LinkedIn keeps spam at bay. And I use LinkedIn in terms of messaging my advisors because they were more apt to open those messages. And oh, by the way, so many people don't know you can send a video message on LinkedIn. So I would actually send them like a happy birthday video message. I did it canned, right? But I had a happy birthday video message. I had a happy birthday hat on.
Oh,
I'll have to dig it up and send it to you. It's hilarious. So I did a whole series of those. When I was wholesaling with Allianz, if there was an annuity anniversary, I think I had a cowboy hat on. I'm gonna have to dig these up for you, Matt. They were hilarious. But I would send them email and LinkedIn because you just, hit all channels. And LinkedIn was just so damn effective. And when they get a video, they're like, what is this? Like there's that curiosity element there. So they more than likely are going to open it up.
well, I'll do you one better. My birthday is next week. It's September 2nd. So if I don't get a video message from Laura with the birthday I want the real deal, Laura. I want the real
I
deal.
pulled out all stops, Manny D. I did. I had to, right? I had to differentiate. I had to stand out in a sea of sameness. And then what ended up happening where the advisors are like, wow, this is kind of cool. I'm going to do the same thing with my clients. I'm like, as you should, right? And I would even teach them in terms of the handwritten note. We all love the handwritten note, right?
Right.
But do we know the proper procedure around the handwritten note? And it drives me batty when like I get a letter in the mail and it's the flag stamp. I'm like, no, because it's you could go to the United States Postal Service website and you can look at the forever stamps. Like, quite frankly, I think these are left over from my wholesaling days. This is just a sheet of forever stamps, and on it says celebrate because I sent out New Year's cards one year. But like, look at this, Oscar de la Renta. Like, how gorgeous are these stamps? If you get a letter in the mail with like an Oscar de la Renta stamp on it, look at that green one. So get some really cool forever stamps and use those on your envelope. I always match my ink color to my envelope and whatever's in it. So literally, like I have a whole bucket of Sharpie pens. So whatever it is, I'm matching it to, and then I just get, nice stationery from Cranes. And like this one is a hot air balloon right here. It's Cranes. And then you just write this. And my hack here is A, I kept these in my car. B, obviously I had the stamps in my car. And and what I would do is I would write the note as soon as I came out of the meeting. So I would leave the meeting, everything was fresh in my mind. I'd get in the car and I'd write the note to the advisor, and then it was in the mail because it was already pre-stamped and ready to go. And we didn't have AI back then. AI, it's so easy to write the note, but I'm like, you know what? Don't use AI, just use your brain. And I call it the three sentence structure. I got this from a former Allianz wholesaler, and it goes like this. The first sentence is all about them. The second sentence is to thank them. And the third sentence is the call to action. And I always did put my business card in there just because I'm like, well, I don't want to leave anything to chance. So I actually had an advisor send me it was that card I just showed you with the hot air balloon on it. He goes, oh, I was cleaning out my desk. Look what I came across the other day. And I was like, oh my gosh, that's like 7 years old. But it's,
All right,
people
give
say
me
things like
a
that.
real life example. Give me a real life example of the three-part framework, Laura. Sorry to
Oh
put
my
you on the
God.
spot.
Hold on. I'm going to grab my phone. I'll give you a real life example because I was like, oh my gosh. Because he sent me the picture. Um,
Yeah.
and here it is. See, I'm not lying. So here it is. There it is. Oh,
What did it
there's
say?
a
Can you give us
there's
a
a
little
hot air
preview?
balloon, right? And this says keeps flipping around here. It says, Dear Dan, your attention to detail, genuine interest, care, and concern is why I know your clients love you and love working with you. It has been an absolute pleasure getting to know you, and I truly look forward to working with you in the future. Let's make a date for lunch. Fondly, Laura. Call to action. Let's make a date for lunch, right?
Three steps. Three steps.
3 steps. There it is. And he saved it, right? He actually saved it. He's like, I was cleaning out my desk the other day, came across your card. I was like, oh, I said, send that to me, send that to me. So there's the proof. 7 years later, he's still has the card. So
I
there's
love
your
that.
three sentence structure. And it's not AI, right? It's not AI slop as we're calling it.
Yeah, and you know, I think personalization, right? Like my good friend Jeremy, he calls it USP, his USP framework. You want a gift that's unique, you want it to be a surprise, and you want it to be personalized to that specific advisor, right? So
That's right.
sending a card on Christmas is not like getting flowers for your spouse on Valentine's Day is
Valentine's
not
Day.
very not
Yeah.
very unique, right? But
Yeah.
keep your ears open if you have an advisor that loves pickleball, get them a custom pickleball, paddle cover that's cool and
Yeah.
has their name on it or something cool because they're going to use it every single day. It's a gift out of the blue. It's going to be personalized specifically to something that they do.
That's right.
I'm sure you could make it make it even. But I wanted to circle back on AI because me and you both love using technology as well, right? So you mentioned it wasn't that long ago in 2020 that literally adding value to an advisor could be getting them a Zoom account. And remember, nobody even knew how to use Zoom in 2020.
I know. Yeah, I know. It was
Now,
incredible. Yeah. Now it's just standard to do Zoom meetings, right? I the other day I was ready to get on a Zoom and it was a conference call. I was like, "Oh my gosh, it's not a Zoom." Like my brain went sideways. I couldn't believe it. But yes, to your point, now AI is everywhere. So when it first came out, I was telling advisors, "Listen, you need to record your conversations if you are allowed to from your compliance and obviously from the consent of your client or your prospect." I'm like, because there's so many things in there that you might not have picked up on that are in the notes that you can then follow up on. So, I mean, every firm is a little bit different. I'm teaching an AI workshop next week, so there's a couple of problems there. One is every firm has a different platform they're using, and then every user is a different on the continuum, whether they're a novice or a power user. So you kind of have to go middle of the road. But I'm really helping them streamline their marketing calendar for 2027. Like it's September. Let's get this on the books right now. So, yeah. And like you said, if you can add value to an advisor's practice, that's what I did all day long, every day. Because before I was wholesaling for Allianz, I was coaching advisors and speaking. So I knew how to work with them. And that's how I approached it from there and developed those deep relationships pretty quick because most advisors will put marketing on the back burner. And it's like, no, you really have to put marketing on the front burner because it's all the difference in the world, right? It makes all the difference in the world, that's for sure.
absolutely, especially if we have a market pullback at some point, because if revenue goes down but expenses stay the same, I think that's where the people that get out in front of that are going to be in good shape. And the average advisor is what, like 60, something like that, Laura?
Yeah,
The average
that's
financial
right.
advisor.
That's right.
Um, the average wholesaler is much younger than that. And one advantage that wholesalers have is a lot of them are tech savvy. And if you're not tech savvy, somebody at your company is for sure. So even teaching advisors how to do webinars, even though they might know how to do Zooms, they definitely are not doing webinars for the most part. And they're probably not unbelievable with AI. So if you're the wholesaler that can, you know, bridge that gap of education on, hey, here's how you can actually market efficiently.
Right.
Let's think of some of the top pain, like to your point, have AI record your conversations, and then you can uncover the pain points of your clients. And then why not do webinars that address all of the pain points that just keep coming up over and over again? And your clients can attend, they can
That's
invite
right.
their friends, their family members, their coworkers. You can invite your prospects, people that you've met with that haven't converted to clients.
That's
Um,
right. Yeah,
use
webinars are
AI to
simply
write.
the best, because you have so many, you now have a digital asset. You have the replay if you want to send it out. You can obviously do all of the pre-marketing around it. Then it's the day of. You don't have to worry about weather constraints or traffic or anything like that. So many people are used to doing a Zoom now, so it's super easy. Then, like I said, you've got the replay and you've got digital assets from that. Then you can clip it. You can put those clips out on LinkedIn or whatever platform that you're approved to use. So now you've created a library. You could take some of those clips and thread them together and create, a whole educational video series around it. I always say in between doing in-person events, fill in the off months with digital events, with those virtual events. Yes, the first one might be a little clunky, but so are your first in-person events too, right? And then from there it becomes easy. Then it becomes wash, rinse, and repeat. And I always say reserve the fun events for in person, and then make the educational events virtual or digital.
I love that. So that kind of brings me to your book, O2. Tell us about The genesis,
Contain.
the origins. How did you come up with the name? What's the book going to be about?
Yeah.
Give us some of the inside scoop there.
Absolutely. So it's called Contagious Growth because everything that I did in my market I called contagious, and I got that from actually the book from Jonah Berger called Contagious: Why Things Catch On. So like I have my contagious events playbook right here. So Contagious Growth is really everything that I've accumulated over the years in terms of what's worked and everything that I've coached advisors on to this point. And O squared is online, offline. And it's really O infinity, but O squared sounded better. So it's basically everything that you do offline, put it online. So if you have an event, take pictures, hire a photographer. It doesn't cost that much. Now you have a library of digital assets. Put that online so people have FOMO, right? Oh my God, I missed out on that. Gosh, I wish I had gone to the Mariners game or the Phillies game or whatever, wherever you're having that event. And then take it back offline. So you meet people at that. Hopefully you meet prospects. Then from there, you take that offline. You have a coffee meeting with them, right? You invite them to your next event, put that back online. So it's that whole cycle of online, offline, because you travel, I travel, look around. Every single person's on their phone. We dine out a lot. Every single person's on their phone. I'm like, why are they even out with their significant other if they're both sitting at the table like this on their phone? I'm like, what's the point? So everyone's online. If you don't think people are online and looking at what you're doing, they are. They absolutely are, right? But so that's the whole premise of the book is online, offline, and giving all of those strategies around it. I don't think I put this in the book, but this was another one of my strategies, and I took this from an advisor that when she would travel and whether she was going to a conference or whatnot, she would send postcards and say, "Hey, I'm at this conference. I'm learning more about fill in the blank, estate planning. Can't wait to share it with you. Was thinking of you. Cheers from wherever, right? Orlando." So I was like, oh my God, that's such a great idea. So when I would travel, when I was wholesaling, I would actually send postcards to my top advisors as to where I was. I'm like, hey, I'm in Orlando. Hey, I'm in South Carolina visiting my dad. Hey, I'm in San Francisco, right? So it's just that personal touch. It's a teeny tiny thing, and it's, hey, I'm in Miami. Um, it's just that little touch to online, offline, right? I'm online. Hey, I'm in Orlando, right? I'm at Disney World, riding whatever. And then it's, hey, by the way, I was here thinking of you kind of thing, right? It's just so easy. And then the advisor's like, oh, I should do that too. So it's that the whole premise of online, offline, because you have to be, I think Michael Joyce said it best, you have to be omnipresent, right? You just have to be. And you have to show up everywhere because you just don't know where the advisor's attention is. I'll tell you where it's not. It's not in their mailbox. That's why I love the postcards, the handwritten note, the gifts, because that's significantly declined. I think since the year 2000, it's gone down like 58% in terms of first class mail. I know when I get something in the mail, I'm like, oh my gosh, this is amazing. So
Just
that's the
so
whole,
cool.
yeah, it's exciting, right? And especially surprise and delight. That really makes, the unexpected that makes people like super excited about it. So it's just ways
Uh,
of showing up differently, whether it's the micro holidays, the macro holidays, like there's just ways to show up in the most unique ways. And oh, by the way, you're not that creative of a person, go to chat, go to Claude, Gemini, whatever you use, and ask it. Its job, the job of AI is to make you happy. And guess what? You can complain at it. So
so a couple things. Number one, I love your idea. Every time you have an event, make sure you photograph it. And there's a company I use, I think they're everywhere, Snapper, SNAPPR. You can hire a professional photographer for
that's
two
right.
hours for like $200. And, if we have 5 to 10 wholesalers, that comes out to like a couple bucks a person.
Exactly. That's
No big
exactly
deal.
right. That's right. No big
Um,
deal.
so like we did a catamaran yacht cruise at LPL Focus. I'll pull up my screen real quick. But we ended up getting about 200 photos.
Oh
So
my
after
God.
the event, we
Oh, that's
distributed the
so awesome.
photos But then to your point, the next year, we did the catamaran again, and we got all the top LPL advisors that didn't attend the previous year. And we said, hey, last year we had an epic night out on the bay with 100 financial advisors and their plus ones. And,
Yeah,
here's some photos from the event. But that really breathes the event to life to say, oh my God, I want to attend that event because they can see it. They can see how much fun everybody had the previous year.
that's
And
right.
all for like $20 a person, right?
I know. And whenever I did events, Matt, I would always have pictures taken. I did a lot of couple events, meaning the spouse, because again, wholesale like a girl, you have to wholesale a little bit differently. So I would always include the spouse. I did a lot of fashion and finance. I did a lot of wine tastings. And with that, I would always make sure to take a picture. And then the next day, I would literally print it out at Walgreens or whatnot. And then I had Allianz frames made, and I would put the picture in there, 5x7, wrap it in wrapping paper, and then drop it off at the advisor's office and say, you know what? Thank you so much for attending. It was loved having you and your spouse at the wine tasting. Here's a little token of my appreciation. And they were like, "Oh my gosh, this is a great picture. Oh, thank you so much." Like, because nobody does it, right? And I literally would wrap the gift. I would literally wrap the gift. I have an advisor, he's a top producer at Merrill Lynch. He called me the other day. He's like, Laura, you know what? I've been getting a lot of pictures from my clients lately. And he goes, I actually print them out at Walgreens and I frame them and I FedEx it to them. And he goes, they call me and they're like, oh my God. I'm like, hey, are you wrapping it? Are you using wrapping paper? He's like, no. He's like, that's a great idea. But then like Karen Adams, she just did her drop of her 16-month calendar. And I text him, I said, hey, here's this calendar. It was one of my top gifts that I gave. And by the way, it's the gift that keeps on giving. It sits on their desk every year or every day they're looking at it. I would have advisors and assistants send me pictures of like, oh my God, Laura, I just flipped the calendar to October. This is so sweet. It's my favorite month, right? So they're thinking of you, and then you get to send the refill every year. So he's like, great idea. Thank you so much. Um, and it's all those little touches. And I would do fashion and finance too. We did it at Nordstrom, and I would hire a fashion illustrator. So she can't get to all of the people at once. Because here's what I always thought, Matt, when I was wholesaling. How can I take this event and up level it? So I'm like, okay, fashion illustrator. So here's my girlfriend. She came and she modeled. This is my girlfriend, Claudia. And then here's the illustrated picture of her, the live fashion illustration. So now I did this for Allianz. I did it for Nationwide. We got the frames. This is just my frame. We got branded frames. I wrapped all of them for the wholesalers and delivered it that way. Again, it sits on their desk. They're going to think of you every single time they look at it. So it's just keeping you top of mind, tip of tongue, right? That differentiating factor to the point that the fashion illustrator, who is my daughter, she got hired to illustrate the RBC Christmas party, the holiday party. So
That's amazing.
yeah, because some of the RBC advisors were at my fashion and finance and they said, "Oh my gosh, this is such a cool idea. Is she available in December, whatever, to illustrate?" I'm like, as a matter of fact, she is. So it's and you can get fashion illustrators in any, city. So again, they can illustrate a single person and two people. They could probably do a group too. But like I was sharing, I would do lip gloss soirees, and I'm like, how can I up level this? And I'm like, oh, I know. At a New Year's Eve party, I met a woman that was doing readings, and she was doing the when you were done drinking your whatever martini, she would take a napkin, flip over the glass, and then she'd read your future based on like
Awesome.
the ring that was created on the napkin. I go, oh my God, you're so cool. I need you at my lip gloss soiree. She goes, oh, I actually read lips. I'm like, what? She goes, instead of reading a palm, I read your lips. I'm like, okay, I need you. So I would have her at my lip gloss soirees. And what she would do is she gives you a blank piece of paper like this, you kiss it, and then she reads your future based on your lip print. So what did I do? I
What?
started framing these. Yeah, I started framing the lip prints. And her name was Sunny. She was the biggest hit. Everyone loved Sunny. I mean, they were going crazy for Sunny. She was like eerily like accurate. So I would always think, how can I up level this? How can I up level this? How can I make it memorable? How can I have the ethical bribe as the follow up to drop something off at their office? I think I mentioned to you the glass blowing, right? The glass blowing events. Those are so amazing. And most major cities have glass blowing studios. I always say, hey, there's a couple of times to do that. One is October, and you usually get two options. You can blow a glass pumpkin or a holiday ornament, and bring the plus one or bring your child, right? And all of this is, by the way, is in my Contagious Events playbook. Um, and then um, and then you can do it for Valentine's Day. That's a whole new holiday. You can make a glass heart paperweight, or you can blow like a beautiful flower. Like you usually have two options that you can do, or a stemless wine glass or something. It's so fun. It's an experience. Like you say, do it with other wholesalers, leverage, brings the cost down. You have a broader reach. It's again, and you can't take the item with you when you go to a glass blowing studio because it has to cool. So again, I would deliver them. So there's always that opportunity. I actually did this with an Allianz wholesaler last year, and he was sending me the results from we did a glass blowing event in Toledo, which is Glass City, right? So like how apropos. His name is Steve Johnson. So he was sending me the messages he was getting of people with their glasses, like doing cheers, right? And like, oh my God, this was such a cool event. Thank you for including us. So
And they're going to use that every year for the rest of their lives because they made it, right? That's going to be the
that's
one
right.
thing that they use every year because they're probably the proudest thing, the proudest seasonal item that they own. So good
And I don't
staying
know if
power.
you've done it yet, Matt, but it is literally so much fun. And there is downtime, and most of the glass studios, they have an event space. So we would bring in food and whatnot. So I liked to do it on Saturday because in Dallas, it's in the design district, so there's a lot of traffic. So I'd like to do it on Saturday morning. So I would just do, hot chocolate and coffee and stuff like that. And I'd like to do it around the holidays. And then it's like a reoccurring theme. Then it's like, come make your holiday ornament, right? So it's just people love it. And I would always tell the advisor, come to my event and then check it out. If you like it, you can duplicate it. Here's the playbook. Everything you need is in this playbook. So,
So how do
and oh,
people
by the
get a
way,
copy of
online,
the
offline. Yeah.
how do we get a copy of the playbook, Laura? Is it something that's available for purchase or is it tell us about the playbook?
Sure. Yep. So, um, I'll share this, for free. This one's for free. Everything in this playbook is in Contagious Growth, which will be out next month. So if you want this for free, you can just find me on LinkedIn or through Matt or however we want to do it, right? You can. Oh wait, I also use Textable. You can text me the word grow. I have to get that to you. We'll put it in the show notes. Forget what my Textable account is at this point. I think it's like 55444 or something. So you
So
could text
I
grow to 55444, but I don't think that's it. But we'll get it to you.
we'll put it in the notes. How do you work with, because I know you have an unbelievable amount of ideas for wholesalers, not only ideas, but how to make ideas better. And I know you work with wholesalers and with distribution companies. In fact, me and you are doing an event together with a distribution company later this year.
That's great.
But what's the best way to get in touch with you if you're a wholesaler, if you're a distribution company? What can you do for individual wholesalers, divisions, or entire companies?
Sure. So I'll start backwards. So entire companies, um, I can help you with respect to any of your marketing and basically being omnipresent. So, for example, the company that we both know and love, we basically do campaigns for the micro holidays and the macro. So it was National Chocolate Chip Cookie Day. So what we did is these bubble mailers, and inside was this tube of chocolate chip cookies, and it says a sweet cookie break. And by the way, they were delicious. I ate the whole thing by myself. I didn't even share. No sharesy. And then here's a little personalized note, right? So, and then there's touches around this. There's the pre-drop email, which is, hey, be on the lookout. There's something showing up in the mail. Then this shows up on National Chocolate Chip Cookie Day. And then there's the follow-up, did you receive it, right? So I work with companies at scale in terms of, do you need distribution around, and it doesn't even necessarily need to be branded. For example, on National Book Lovers Day, what we did is we did the book, The Happiness Advantage, but we included a bookmark, right? So the book wasn't branded, but the bookmark was, right? And then there was a personalized note. So I work with companies in terms of distribution. from a marketing standpoint for those touches, whether it's birthdays for everyone that you want to reach out to, or those micro macro holidays. And you and I both know there's a ton of them. We don't do every single one of them. And then I flip that into love affair marketing. Like, okay, ask them, hey, my favorite cookie is chocolate chip. What's yours? Or ice cream day. Hey, my favorite is Jenny's Brambleberry Crisp. What's yours? Because once you start accumulating all of the information about your client or your prospect, then you can start really targeting, like you said, with those personalized gifts. So I work at that level as well as producing events for them. And I do everything from, I have a wine expert from wine tastings all the way through, fashion and finance to Chanel lip gloss soirees. So executing on events, so stuff, certainly things around practice management as well. And then on the individual level in terms of coaching, advisors, teams, or wholesalers in terms of, client acquisition, retention, or even if it's efficiency, around using AI in this day and age.
Yeah, and every wholesaler, every advisor wants to get more introductions and referrals. And part of the secret sauce is what you're talking about, right? How do you go above and beyond, create a memorable experience, do something that they'll never forget?
Right.
And then number one, they'll want to refer you. Number two, if you ask them for a referral or an introduction, they're going to want to do it. But I think wholesalers forget to ask for introductions and referrals.
That's right.
Like, why does every advisor say that their number one growth engine is introductions and referrals? But if you talk to a wholesaler and say, hey, what's the number one thing that you want to do to grow your business this year? I'll bet you none of them would answer introductions and referrals. Isn't that interesting?
That is interesting. Yeah. I mean, I grew the territory in Dallas by referrals. And I would simply ask the advisor at the end of the meeting, hey, are you asking for introductions and referrals? And they're like, they'd kind of hem and haw around it. So I would say, okay, I would give them the strategy. And they're like, okay, that's awesome. Can you write that down? I was like, oh, as a matter of fact, I already have it written down on an index card. And I would just literally hand them the index card. And then, um, and then I would say, speaking of which, who should I be talking to? Who can you refer me to? So it's, the law of reciprocity, right? You do for me, I do for you. And that's how, at the time at Allianz, I was number three in new producers out of the time they had 70 wholesalers. And it was really just from that. It was just from asking for those referrals. Because again, you're right. The wholesalers don't really ask. And I know you have a whole OSJ strategy, which is brilliant. I would do the same thing with COIs. So I would always start with the manager of the office. I'd always try to get a meeting with him or her. And you and I both know what their number one thing is: recruiting, right? They want to recruit, recruit, recruit. Like on their scorecard, that's what is normally number one or number two. So I'm like, oh, I can help you with that. And they're like, how so? And I'm like, well, I was a guest author in Serrano Kelly's first recruiting book. He's got a newer version. Would you like it? So I would simply send them, Serrano Kelly's recruiting book. This isn't the recruiting book, but Serrano Kelly has the only book written in the industry on recruiting financial advisors. So I would literally give them a copy of the book, right? It's like $15. At the time, I was the guest author. I had two chapters in his first book. He's has a second version now, which I'm not in. But they're like, oh my God, this is fan, and I'd get feedback. Oh my God, these have the best strategies in it for recruiting. And now with AI, it's just a whole different game. I mean, you saw the profiles I sent to you about you and Christina, like mind bending, right?
Yeah, I'll have to share that next. But
We'll do a part two.
we'll do a part two. We've both been reading the book Unreasonable Hospitality.
Yeah,
What sticks out about, like, one of the main stories they talk about is and if you haven't read it, it's a three-star Michelin restaurant in New York. They provide the best service of any restaurant, viral. So they
yeah.
train their employees, there you go, to listen, right? So one of their diners was having a conversation. They said the one thing we didn't get to do in New York City, we didn't get a New York hot dog. So
The hot dog, yeah.
The manager sprinted to the hot dog stand, got a New York hot dog. They plated it like fine dining, brought it to the table and
Yeah,
said, "Hey, the one thing you didn't get to do was have a New York hot dog. Here's the
that's right.
best New York hot dog." But
Yeah.
how do you apply that to wholesaling, right? What should wholesalers be listening for when they're talking to a because we're used to talking, Laura, myself included, right? What should we be
Oh, I know.
listening for?
I know. I know. I actually put a LinkedIn post out today about how much I love to talk and how I use whisper flow.
Yeah.
Um, Well, that's a great point. I don't have it. I was going to bring it in my office and I forgot. But I would say it's active listening. Like really sit back and listen for those clues that the advisor or the advisor's significant other says. So I'll give you a live example of that. I would do the spouse dinners because again, wholesale like a girl, I really couldn't do events at night with advisors because most of the advisors I had were male and it wasn't like I was like, hey, let's go to a Mavericks game. Hey, let's go to a Stars game, right? It's just
Yeah. If
so I
Christina
would
was like, "What are you doing?" I'm like, "Oh, I'm going out to dinner with another girl tonight." She'd be like, "The heck you are."
exactly. So I was like, okay, I can't do that. So I would do the spouse dinners. And this is a live example. So one of the dinners I had on this free people like poncho. And the wife said, "Oh my God, that is so cool. I love that." I was like, "Oh, thanks." What did I do? Went back, got approval because the jacket was $99, fit underneath the FINRA gift rule, and I gifted it to him, but it was really for her. So she receives this free people poncho in the mail, and she's like literally crying and Steve, my significant other, is like, "Hey, all these dinners we're going to, like, what's going on here?" I'm like, "Those folks are in my top 10 at this point. Like the folks that I loved on and nurtured those relationships and gave the gifts or whatever the case may be. I mean, I one of the advisors was he was just like, "Oh my God, my wife is such a spenderella. I can't stand it." I go, "Well, there's a consignment store. It doesn't feel like consignment that's in Plano, Texas called Keeks, and they sell like all designer, and it'll save you money." He's like, "Oh, thank God." And he started taking meetings after that, right? So sometimes it's just those little touches. You just have to listen. Oh, by the way, now it's so easy. What do we have? We have AI to do the listening for us and pick up on those cues. So back then when, I was wholesaling, I just had to use my listening ears. So I call it active listening. And what you're really doing is you're listening for those cues that they're saying, but other people would probably just blow by.
Yeah,
Unreasonable
being
hospitality.
being present, right? Like we have football season coming up. It's like, "Hey,
Yeah.
what's your sports teams?" "Oh, I love the Eagles." "Hey, why do you like the Eagles? Did you do like does it bring you back to family? Did you used to go to
Yeah.
games with like your dad or what was your favorite moment?" And then
Yeah.
based off that, they're probably going to give you some. Do you have any photos of you as a kid with your family, like watching football or going to a game? Hey, send me that. I'd love to see it. Frame that photo and send it to their, like, it's
That's
just,
right.
sometimes it's just listening and then being a good human and just asking that one or two follow-up questions of, "Hey, why do you like football? Is it because you truly love football or does it connect you to your family? Do you have any good memories with your
That's right.
parents or your friends, or do you still do a fantasy league with all your buddies from high school or college, or tell me about that."
I know. It's such an opportunity, and I didn't realize until I moved to Dallas like how sports centric it is here. Like it's incredible. And I also realized if the Cowboys lost, how bad the sales were that week. I was like, oh my God, go Cowboys. Um, I will admit I am a Cowboys fan now. But my daughter's an Eagles fan. The first game I took her to was like a box on the field. I was like, honey, this is not normal. So just not, look, don't get used to this. But anyway, I use that to such an advantage, Matt, to stay in touch with everyone. I figured out what their favorite NFL team, college. I mean, I would email them, text them like I had one advisor, a huge LSU fan, and I would text him on Monday, "Hey, hard loss or great win," or I'd point something out about the game. And we created this great relationship just because I was interested in, his alma mater. It's a really easy way. I have some advisors that are like, oh, I don't know, I don't really like sports. I'm like, you have no idea the power and the amount of touches that you have from that opportunity to follow up and just say something about it, right? I mean, like a King James. I'm not rooting for your 76ers, but like here's Monday Night Football, right?
Yeah.
Here's the schedule. On the other side is this here's the schedule for all the Texas teams, of course. Dallas,
By the way,
Texas,
the
Texas.
Eagles are playing Dallas Monday night in October when we have
I
that
know.
conference. Maybe we
I
can talk
told
them
you
into
that.
going to an Eagles game. Yeah,
I
yeah.
told you that because I thought it was Sunday I was going to go to it. And then I was like, wait, it's Monday night. But anyway, you want to talk about marketing. Jerry Jones is a marketing machine. So he's, yeah, he revolutionized the NFL. So if you're ever in Dallas, Matt, I'll take you to the Cowboys Club. He has a
Let's
whole
do it.
social club. You would love it from a
Let's
marketing perspective. Yeah,
if there's any industry conferences in Dallas, let me know. Maybe me and Christina will fly in for a few days. That'd be a lot of fun.
that would be
Um,
so fun. That would be
all
fun.
right, well, we got about 2 minutes left, Laura. Last question. Any last piece of advice? If you were a brand new wholesaler taking over a territory for the first time, what would be a good piece of advice from Laura?
I would say this is right out of your playbook. It's leverage. It's all about leverage. Leverage other relationships, leverage other wholesalers. I think I shared this with you. There's something called the Fast and the Furious. It was from another wholesaler that I had worked with. I switched it up to call it the starting five for basketball. And I will tell you, advisors love this because they get to come to one lunch. They get to hear from five wholesalers their best ideas, and they each have 5 minutes to present. So some wholesalers call it the Fast and Furious. I like to call it the starting five. I have all the parameters around that. So if anyone's interested in it, you can just hit me up on LinkedIn or you can email me info@lauravirilli.com. And it's just, I would say leverage other wholesalers. And when I got to Dallas, I just played dumb. I would ask advisors. Now you run a risk here. I'd say, oh my God, I love your whatever, fill in the blank. I love your Range Rover. Where should I get mine? Oh, I love your teeth. They look so beautiful. Who do you use a dentist? Oh, your hair color is great. Oh, your manicure, whatever, right? Oh, I love your outfit. Where do you shop? Do you have a stylist, right? So I would just ask them for references. And of course, so leverage other wholesalers, ask the advisor for advice and recommendations, down to like restaurants and whatnot. And the assistants, just love on the assistants, because they are the gatekeepers and they've got one heck of a job. So those are my closing thoughts.
All right. So yeah, ask for advice. Advisors love giving help, especially to younger
Do.
wholesalers. Definitely keep the assistants in mind. And then get that contagious playbook from Laura Virilli. That would be the third thing. So Laura, always love seeing you. We got to meet in person and hang out in Dallas. It was a blast. I think it was 2 years ago at this point. But
It
thanks for
was.
everything that you do for the community, wholesalers, financial advisors, all the energy, the ideas, the enthusiasm. Um, we just appreciate you. So
Oh, I love it. I love it.
thanks for being on the YouTube channel. You're
Oh, thank you. Thank you, Maddie D. Love what you do. Love what you're doing. I love it. Can't get enough of it. Keep going.
all right, LV. We'll catch you soon.
Awesome. Thanks.